Warren Buffett explains why people are less happy than they could be. Warren Buffett built one of the largest fortunes in modern history, and yet he has talked for decades about how little money has to do with actual happiness. He treats the subject almost like a separate business problem, with its own causes and fixable mistakes. Most of his explanations point back to a handful of mental habits that quietly work against contentment, no matter how much someone earns. 1. The trap of the outer scorecard. Buffett believes one of the biggest reasons people stay unhappy is that they judge their own lives using someone else's measuring stick. He calls this living by an outer scorecard rather than an inner one. The difference matters. One scorecard is built from your own values. The other is built from the opinions of people who barely know you and will forget the exchange by lunch. The big question about how people behave is whether they've got an inner scorecard or an outer scorecard. It helps if you can be satisfied with an inner scorecard. Warren Buffett. To make the point land, Buffett likes to ask audiences a strange but pointed question. He asks whether they would rather actually be the best at something while everyone believes they are the worst, or actually be the worst while everyone believes they are the best. Most people quietly admit they would pick the second option. That instinct says something uncomfortable about how much weight people place on appearance over substance. Buffett argues this same instinct keeps people from ever feeling happy and at peace, since approval from strangers is a poor substitute for actually liking your own life. 2. The illusion that wealth alters your happiness. A lot of unhappiness starts with a quiet belief that a certain number in a bank account will eventually flip a switch and produce contentment. Buffett pushes back hard on that idea. He has said that money doesn't change who you are underneath. It just makes you more of what you already are. If you aren't happy having $50,000 or $100,000, you are not going to be happy if you have $50 million or $100 million. Warren Buffett. Someone who is naturally anxious or insecure doesn't become calm and happy just because the zeros multiply on their net worth. The anxiety and the insecurity move into nicer surroundings and keep operating exactly as before. Wealth can buy comfort and options most people never get. It can't manufacture gratitude, and it can't install a sense of peace that was never built in the first place. Buffett isn't saying money is bad. He's saying money is neutral, a tool that stretches whatever was already there into something bigger. 3. The perpetual unhappiness of envy. The late Charlie Munger, Buffett's longtime business partner, had a running joke that envy causes more damage in the world than greed ever did. Buffett agreed with him completely, and he has pointed out that people frequently sabotage their own happiness by fixating on what the neighbor has rather than appreciating what they already have. This habit is sometimes described as keeping up with the Joneses. A person can feel genuinely satisfied with their home, their career, or their progress, right up until they notice someone else doing slightly better at the same thing. The moment that comparison kicks in, satisfaction tends to evaporate fast. It's replaced by a restless feeling that you are somehow behind, even though nothing in your actual life has changed in that instant. A life built on comparison is never happy, because there is always someone doing better at something. Buffett argues that contentment is never built for you as long as you have envy in your heart. It gets taken away the moment a new comparison shows up, since it depended on the comparison going your way in the first place. 4. The ultimate test of a happy life. Buffett has argued that plenty of people spend decades entirely chasing the wrong scoreboard. They collect titles, money, and recognition while ignoring the one measurement that matters most once the noise dies down. In a talk to university students, he laid out what he considers the real test of a well-lived life. It's one of his most widely shared comments, mostly because it cuts so directly against the assumption that wealth and fulfillment are the same thing. Basically, when you get to my age, you'll really measure your success in life by how many of the people you want to have love you actually do love you. The trouble with love is that you can't buy it. You can buy S*X. You can buy testimonial dinners. But the only way to get love is to be lovable. It's very irritating if you have a lot of money. You'd like to think you could write a check, "I'll buy $1 million worth of love." But it doesn't work that way. The more you give love away, the more you get. Warren Buffett. This idea reframes success in a way that has nothing to do with net worth. It suggests that real fulfillment late in life tends to come from relationships built slowly over decades, and that no amount of money can shortcut that process. Buffett has said plainly that love can't be purchased the way a dinner or a favor can, which is part of what makes it worth something in the first place. Conclusion. Buffett frames happiness as a psychological problem first, with economics playing only a supporting role. He is describing habits of mind that work against contentment long before money even enters the picture. Living by an outer scorecard, expecting wealth to repair internal struggles, comparing yourself to neighbors, and chasing applause instead of love all show up again and again in how he talks about this subject. He spent decades around people who reached extraordinary levels of financial success. That vantage point gave him an unusual view of which habits actually produced contentment and which only seemed to. His conclusion stays simple even after all those years of watching. The people who end up content tend to be those who measure themselves by their own standards and put real effort into being lovable rather than impressive. That lesson doesn't require a particular income to apply. It costs nothing to start practicing it, and based on what Buffett has spent a lifetime observing, it may be the one investment that actually pays off the way people hope it will.